is to define what that could translate into. So this is obviously a standard definition for selling something. It isn't valid for every operation, obviously not. So that's the first thing we need to define. How do we translate these 6 words into something that makes sense for our operation? And I'll go through them all. First of all, awareness. How do you make something known? And the classic way of making something known is to do classic traditional marketing, right? So you make a TV ad or you make a poster, but it could also be to send out an email, post it in your Facebook groups, etc. So that is the classic awareness. I'm pretty sure that that category is one of the easiest one for you to work with, because you work with that every day, I'm sure, all of you. So that's the first thing. Acquisition, that is how can you actually convert this awareness into an action, such as give out your identity or so. So we could translate it into something that is more valid for you in your processes, given that what it is maybe first point of contact, maybe like registration, something that is where you get someone to do something, such as register or so. So first point of contact, maybe, or something like that. If you, for example, for the festival, it could be to like the event on Facebook. It doesn't mean that you're actually going to the festival, but it means that you are aware and that you somehow have given your identity to. So we could say that acquisition here is first point of contact. Something that makes you having a relationship with a potential customer or so. So first POV maybe, no POC, sorry. First POC, like we translate that acquisition to. Then you have activation, things that you do on the actual place. So activation, that is a very important category. Activation is what you do at the actual event or the actual place in order to make more people come the next time or make more people aware. So for example, if you have a hashtag called hashtag EKIC 2021, that's a part of marketing's activation strategy.
Yes.
Because it makes you, being participants on this place, you are now activating this event to be known for people outside here in your own channels. Okay? So that is typically activation. So, for example, you are offering a place where people can come. What can you do with that place so that you help people tell the world what they have experienced and how that feels? That is at the place. That is activation. Retention. That is typically something you work with in certain businesses that has more like your contractual relationships, such as I have a telephone and I call with that, and I have a contract with my telecom operator. If I cancel that to churn and go to another operator, then the telecom will need to have a retention strategy. So might or might not be interesting for you. Revenue, well, I guess that many of you are going to offer things more or less for free, because that is the nature of a lot of your businesses. But in many businesses, the way that you are charging could also be a way of growing your business. So For example, if you pay less upfront and more afterwards or so, that could be ideas on how to grow, because everything here is about growth. So ideas on how to structure the revenue relationship could make you grow. And then the last category is referral. So referral is when someone is, for example, if someone buys a ticket to your festival, if there is a ticket, I don't know, but if you want to have a ticket, then maybe they can have half of the price of the ticket if they refer. You know, like that is a very common way of working with referrals. That if you refer, you get some discount or so. So that is the categories, and all these categories is to activate and make it grow. So that's the way of looking at it. Now, you could also bring in, for example, consideration and so on. There are other things you can bring in. You can bring in how can we persuade people when they consider, what do they do. But what you should look into now is, with a very open mind, what are the different steps that people typically take in order to evaluate and then go to our festival. And try to map the user journey. Try to see how you fit into people's lives when they are doing certain things that would lead up to your offering. So, for example, if you take, just to get your head spin on baptizing. Baptizing, for a lot of people, that is about names, right? To give a name. A lot of people see it as it is part of a name, even though baptizing might be a lot of other things. But would you then consider the user journey that you Google names, for example? What does this mean? You know, that is a typical way where you can stick in awareness. So if someone Google names, what can you do there? Could that be a touch point? Then you just put that as a task that people are giving themselves. So start with awareness. How can people get aware and about what you do? So ideas what they do. And you don't need to have ideas on how to solve it, but rather start now with tasks. So for example, how could people get aware of your offering? What are people doing at that time? And for baptizing, so people search for names. Okay, that's a good starting point. I mean, having a child is the starting point for baptizing. Right? So start with that. For a festival, well, the starting point could be that people are planning maybe their vacation, or maybe their parents are planning their kids' vacation, or maybe someone is, their friends are putting up events on Facebook, that kind of things. What are people doing that could make them aware of something happening, for example? And for you, a quiet room, what could be the starting point? Maybe it's like when it's hectic, or so forth, and when you're feeling that it's too much. That could be a starting point to feel the need of some place quiet. When do you feel the need of a place quiet? So start with situations where people feel the need for what you are offering. And you don't need to have solutions on how to communicate, but start only with defining what are the contexts where your offering makes sense. And just write them down on Post-its and put them so you get like a cloud of contextual things where your offering makes sense. And don't censor yourself or the group or anything, just put them. It's better that you have a lot of Post-its that you can then throw away than only have one. Okay?